Money is not a pile of paper. It is not gold in a vault, nor numbers on a digital screen. It is not even the paycheck you receive for the hours you trade. Money is energy. That's the truth most people never learn because they're too busy chasing it like prey, instead of magnetizing it like power. The masses believe that money is something outside of themselves, something that must be earned, begged for, hunted down, or stolen. But the enlightened, the ones who rise above mediocrity, the ones who build empires from nothing but thought and faith, they understand that money is a frequency. It is an echo, it is a mirror. It vibrates in perfect alignment with your beliefs about it. Your beliefs are the signal you send. Your beliefs are the command to the universe. If deep down you believe you're not worthy of wealth, you will repel it. Even if you get it for a moment, you'll find a way to lose it. You will sabotage your fortune because the vibration in your subconscious cannot hold the frequency of abundance. You might tell yourself you want money, but if you think like a beggar, act like a doubter, live like a struggler, then you are transmitting a signal of lack, and the universe, being obedient and exact, will respond with more lack. Your circumstances are not accidents. They are evidence of your vibration. You must first understand that the world you see is the echo of the world within. If you see scarcity, it's because you're vibrating in scarcity. If you experience struggle, it's because your mind is in conflict. Money is not the root cause, money is the result, money is a shadow. What creates the shadow is the light of your mind and the shape of your thoughts. Shift the shape and you shift the shadow. Shift the thought and you shift the result. You can grind for money all day, you can sweat and bleed and sacrifice everything. But if your energy repels wealth, you'll never have enough. You'll live in a loop of just enough to survive, never enough to thrive, and that is not fate. That is not bad luck. That is energetic misalignment. When you begin to see money as energy, the game changes. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop grasping and start aligning. You stop begging and start commanding. The frequency of money is abundance, certainty, confidence, clarity, gratitude, and value. When your inner world vibrates with these elements, you become a magnet to all forms of wealth, not just cash, but ideas, people, opportunities, inspiration, and divine timing. The rich don't work harder than the poor. They think differently. They feel differently. They carry themselves on a different energetic plane. They speak from a different place. They have learned, whether consciously or not, to tune into the frequency where money already exists, and that is why it flows to them. You can have all the talent, all the knowledge, all the education, and all the credentials in the world, but if your energy is misaligned with wealth, none of it matters. You've seen people with no formal training rise to riches, while others with degrees and diplomas remain stuck in debt. That's not a coincidence. That's not injustice. That's vibration. You're not broke because you lack money. You're broke because you've yet to unlock the frequency that attracts it. Change your energy and you change your income. Change your belief system and you change your bank account. The root of wealth is in the soil of your thoughts. Do not confuse this with mere positive thinking. This is not about optimism. This is about definiteness of inner reality. You must carry a certainty that money is already yours before it arrives. You must hold the vibration of wealth when there is no evidence of it in sight. That is the test. That is the key. When you learn to radiate the energy of a wealthy person, speak the words of a wealthy person, make decisions like a wealthy person, carry yourself like a wealthy person, before the wealth shows up, you are unlocking the gate that most will never find. You are sending out a clear, powerful signal, and the universe responds to clarity. Always, your mind is a magnet. It attracts what it is harmonized with. The weak mind waits for proof before it believes. The powerful mind believes until proof arrives. The weak mind says, I will believe I am wealthy when I see the money. The powerful mind says, I believe I am wealthy, and therefore the money must come. There is no compromise in that thinking. There is no fear, no hesitation, no second guessing, And it is this definiteness that tunes your frequency. It is this mental dominance that turns your thoughts into currency. Money flows toward mental certainty. It avoids confusion, fear, and inner conflict like the plague. Every moment you entertain doubt, every moment you hesitate to believe, every moment you lean back instead of forward, you weaken the signal. The world is full of people trying to get rich with a poverty frequency. That's why they stay stuck. They go to seminars, read books, memorize strategies, but they still carry the vibration of not enough. They still walk with insecurity. They still think small, talk small, act small. They pray for wealth, but vibrate in fear, and energy doesn't lie. You can fake words, but you can't fake vibration. You can wear a suit, but if your soul screams scarcity, the money will hear that and stay away. You cannot trick the frequency. You must become the frequency. There is no room for lukewarm thoughts. There is no room for casual intentions. If you desire wealth, you must tune into it with such force, such intensity, such clarity, that there is no alternative. It becomes a dominant obsession, not in a desperate way, but in a certain way. The frequency of money is high, fast, clean, and strong. Tune into that, and you rise above doubt, you rise above fear, you rise above limitation. When your thoughts, feelings, and actions all point in the same direction, you become unstoppable, you become magnetic. What do you think about when no one is watching? What do you feel when the bills come in? What words do you speak when you talk about money? These are the real frequencies you live in, not the ones you pretend to have when you're reading success quotes. If you want money to show up, your private vibration must match your public desire. You cannot say, "I am abundant," while secretly feeling unworthy. You cannot shout, "I am rich," while quietly panicking about rent. Energy is precise, it knows the truth, and it only responds to truth. So you must train your mind like a warrior. You must discipline your thoughts like a commander on the battlefield. No room for fear, no space for hesitation. You must decide once and for all that you are rich in spirit, in thought, in energy, and that the money is just catching up. This decision is not made once. It is made every moment. It is practiced, repeated, reinforced, etched into the deepest layers of your being. You become obsessed with wealth, not in a needy way, but in a knowing way. You don't ask for money, you align with it, you vibrate in harmony with it, and in doing so, you claim the throne that was always yours. Energy without emotion is static. It sits idle, unmoving, unshaped. It is a rocket without fuel, a vehicle without ignition. You may know that money is energy, you may even believe it in your mind, but unless that belief is infused with white, hot emotion, it remains a thought that dies in stillness. It is desire that electrifies the circuit. It is desire that stirs the invisible substance of the universe and commands it to form into wealth, not passive wishing, not half-hearted longing, but a burning, relentless, consuming desire that refuses to settle, that refuses to weaken, that refuses to be denied. Only this kind of desire can turn potential energy into financial reality. Desire is the voltage. Emotion is the current. It is the force that penetrates the silence and awakens the invisible laws to move in your favor. A man with lukewarm ambition will always serve the man who is set on fire from within. You cannot tiptoe into abundance. You must storm the gates. You must declare with every fiber of your being that you are no longer available for poverty, lack, struggle, or smallness. You must vibrate in absolute commitment to wealth, and that commitment must be charged with feeling so intense that the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to meet you at your level. Most people live in emotional poverty. They feel numb, indifferent, complacent. Their dreams are soft, gentle, comfortable, and so are their results. You don't get extraordinary wealth from comfortable feelings. You get it from explosive hunger. You get it from passion so strong it burns through obstacles. You get it from emotional conviction that cannot be argued with. When you vibrate in emotional certainty, when you feel wealth in your body before it ever hits your account, when your heart races with the thrill of expectation, that's when the energy of money starts responding to you. That's when you become a living transmitter of abundance. The feeling is the secret, not the thinking alone, but the feeling. Emotion unlocks the vault. Desire turns the key. The universe does not respond to theory. It responds to resonance. What you feel deeply, consistently, and fearlessly, you begin to attract. If you feel fear, you attract situations that match that fear. If you feel gratitude, you attract experiences that expand that gratitude. If you feel abundant, you magnetize more abundance. The universe is not moral, it is mechanical. It gives you exactly what you vibrate, nothing more and nothing less. It does not care about your excuses, your story, your trauma, or your history. It reads your energy and delivers accordingly. If your desire is weak, so is your frequency, and a weak frequency repels wealth. You must want it with such fire that the world takes notice. You must want it so badly that your doubts wither in the heat of your obsession. You must want it so clearly, so repeatedly, so passionately, that you begin to feel as if it is already yours. And when you feel it as yours, you no longer chase it. You begin to receive it. That is the paradox. You chase only what you think you don't have. When you believe deeply that it is already yours, you create the space for it to arrive. That's not delusion. That's alignment. But here's where most people destroy their own frequency: doubt. Doubt is the frequency killer. It is the static that scrambles your signal, the interference that blocks your transmission. Doubt is poison. Every time you question if it's working, every time you ask, but how? Every time you slip back into fear, you are disrupting the flow. You are turning down the volume of your desire and sending a mixed message to the universe. And mixed messages yield no results. You cannot vibrate in faith and fear at the same time. You cannot attract wealth while radiating worry. You must choose your station and remain there without compromise. Doubt is not humility. Doubt is not intelligence. Doubt is self. Sabotage dressed in logic. It masquerades as realism, but it is treason against your potential. The world will give you 1,000 reasons to doubt, but none of them matter unless you accept them. And when you accept doubt, you deactivate the frequency of wealth. You become a faulty transmitter, short, circuiting your own success. The man who lives in belief will always outperform the man who lives in doubt, even if he has less talent, fewer resources, and more obstacles. Belief is that powerful. Belief is the lever that moves mountains. Belief is the code that unlocks the treasure chest. To eliminate doubt, you must train your inner world with military precision. You must catch every thought of fear and crush it under the foot of conviction. You must watch your words like a hawk and refuse to speak anything that contradicts your destiny. The subconscious mind is always listening, and what you say, even as a joke, becomes the blueprint for what you receive. If you say money is hard to make, your subconscious locks in that truth and your energy follows suit. If you say, I never have enough, you are programming lack. If you joke that you're broke, your vibration aligns with it. There are no innocent words in the realm of energy. Everything you say is a spell. Speak only what you want to live. Guard your mind with discipline. Surround yourself only with ideas, people, and environments that reflect your desired frequency. Do not entertain conversations rooted in scarcity. Do not engage in the stories of the masses. You are not here to repeat the cycle. You are here to break it, and you break it by becoming immune to doubt. By treating your beliefs as law, by protecting your vibration with unwavering loyalty, when doubt creeps in, and it will, you do not argue with it. You replace it instantly. You override it with affirmation, with vision, with action. You tell it who you are. You remind yourself what you are building. You drown it in the sound of your purpose. Belief is not a mood, it is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows through repetition. The more you act in faith, the stronger your belief becomes. And the stronger your belief, the cleaner your signal. You don't wait to feel confident. You move until confidence emerges. You don't wait for proof. You become the proof. You don't wait to see if the world believes in you. You believe in yourself so strongly that the world is forced to catch up. This is how you maintain the frequency that attracts wealth, not by chance, but by choice, not by luck, but by leadership. You lead your energy. You lead your thoughts. You lead your emotions, and the results follow. You must become a master of your internal state. You must wake up every morning and condition your mind for abundance. You must visualize the life you desire as if it were already lived. You must speak words of power, walk with authority, think in terms of wealth, and act in alignment with your highest self. You cannot afford to let your energy drift. You cannot afford to dip into fear. Every thought is an investment. Every emotion is a message. Every action is a vote for your future. And when you move in boldness, when you think in certainty, when you feel in faith, you generate a force that bends reality. Your actions are your loudest affirmations. You can sit and meditate. You can journal for hours. You can visualize until your eyes hurt. But until your actions match the energy of wealth, you are lying to the universe. Money responds not just to thoughts and feelings. It responds to motion. Motion creates momentum. Action crystallizes belief. The man who acts boldly while others hesitate is the man who attracts fortune, not because he is special, not because he is lucky, but because he understands that action is the proof of faith. And faith in motion is a frequency that wealth cannot resist. There are too many who claim to want wealth but act as if poverty is their destiny. They hesitate when opportunity knocks. They shrink when it's time to invest. They delay decisions waiting for perfect certainty, but certainty never comes before action. It comes because of action. The moment you move in faith, the path starts to reveal itself. The moment you act as if you're already wealthy, the circumstances begin to match. Not because you're faking it, but because you're broadcasting a signal of power and courage. And that signal is the difference between being noticed by wealth or being ignored by it. Do not confuse movement with progress. Many people are busy but going nowhere. They fill their days with distraction and call it effort. They jump from one shiny object to the next, chasing tactics while avoiding the real work. Real wealth-building action is intentional. It is deliberate. It comes from a clear vision and a firm decision. Every action either aligns with your desired frequency or distances you from it. The man who moves with precision, with clarity, with urgency, is telling the universe he is ready. The one who waits, doubts, hesitates. He is sending a message of unreadiness, and the universe listens with perfect accuracy. Money flows toward decisiveness. Money flows toward those who execute while others talk. Money flows toward those who are willing to do what most won't. Study when others sleep, invest when others hoard, create when others consume, lead when others follow. Every courageous act sends out a signal that multiplies. Each bold decision builds your frequency. Every time you act in faith rather than fear, you raise your vibration. And when that vibration becomes your normal state, you become magnetic to wealth, not occasionally, but perpetually. You cannot build wealth with weak decisions. You cannot command money while seeking permission. You cannot rise while blending in. If you want to attract at a higher level, you must live at a higher standard. That means holding yourself accountable to your words, honoring your commitments to yourself, doing the work when no one is watching. The man who moves in silence with strength, who builds in the dark with fire, who executes without applause, he becomes unstoppable. Because his actions are aligned with purpose, not performance. His actions come from inner conviction, not external validation, and that kind of energy cannot be denied. Your discipline is your frequency stabilizer. Your habits are your energetic anchors. Without structure, you will drift. Without commitment, you will fall back. Without standards, you will regress into the vibration of the masses, low, scattered, reactive, poor. But with discipline, you begin to shape time. With habits, you begin to mold destiny. With repetition, you rewire your energy field to reflect wealth. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. Daily disciplined action is the only real wealth strategy that never fails. But action alone is not enough. You must become a person of value. You must transform yourself into a vessel so worthy, so useful, so powerful, that money finds you irresistible. Money flows toward value. It rewards those who solve problems, who meet needs, who bring excellence into the world. If you are not valuable, you are replaceable. If you are not growing, you are shrinking. And if you are not investing in yourself, don't expect others to invest in you. Your income is not just a reflection of your work. It is a mirror of your value in the marketplace of energy. To attract more, you must become more. You must elevate your thinking, refine your skills, expand your capacity. You must stop settling for average and become exceptional, not through ego, but through mastery, not through hype, but through substance. A man of value doesn't need to beg for opportunity. Opportunity seeks him out. A woman of worth doesn't chase recognition. Her presence commands it. You cannot hide true value. You cannot suppress real greatness. It pierces through the noise like a beacon. It calls wealth like a lighthouse calls ships in the night. Too many people chase money while remaining the same. They want wealth but resist growth. They want more income without becoming more impactful. That is backward energy. You don't get rich by chance. You get rich by choice. The choice to evolve, the choice to stretch, the choice to become the kind of person who is so valuable that money is simply a reflection of their presence. The poor mindset says, "How can I get more?" The wealthy mindset says, "How can I give more value?" And in that one shift, everything begins to change. Every dollar you earn is a certificate of impact. It is evidence that you gave something valuable to someone who needed it. It is not magic. It is not luck. It is energy in motion. And when you become more valuable, when your knowledge deepens, when your influence strengthens, when your creativity expands, the world responds. It is law. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. You get what you consistently demonstrate. And when you demonstrate value, the marketplace rewards you with energy called money. If you want more money, stop asking, "How do I make more?" and start asking, "How do I become more?" Become more disciplined, more focused, more intentional. Become the person who cannot be ignored. Become the person who adds so much value that the world must open doors. That's the real secret, not tricks, not shortcuts, transformation. You must be willing to become so great at what you do, so rare in how you think, so consistent in how you show up, that you create a gravitational pull for prosperity. Your growth creates your frequency. Your value amplifies it, and when your frequency matches abundance, you don't pursue wealth. It pursues you. No more excuses, no more distractions, no more waiting. Start building yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. Start investing in your mind, your body, your craft, your energy. Start showing up like someone who has already won. Start speaking like someone who has already arrived. Act like a millionaire before the world sees you as one. Not to impress, but to align. Not to pretend, but to prepare. When you act, think, move, and live from the level you want to reach, you collapse time. You speed up the process. You compress the journey, because your frequency is no longer begging, it's commanding. And when you command with value and vision, with clarity and conviction, the world begins to respond in ways you could not imagine. The people you need show up. The ideas you need download into your mind. The deals, the clients, the breakthroughs, they start moving in your direction, not because of luck, because of law, because energy cannot be faked, because value cannot be denied, because the frequency of wealth is waiting for you to meet it, not someday, but now. Wealth is not a chase. It's a frequency you tune into through your thoughts, emotions, actions, and value. Money responds to energy vibrations of desire, belief, decisiveness, and self-discipline. When you align your internal world with abundance and act with unwavering conviction, the external world mirrors it. You don't wait to become wealthy. You become the kind of person wealth is drawn to. Transform your energy and money follows. Elevate your standards and opportunities multiply. Master your mind, sharpen your value, and move with purpose. This is not theory. It's law. Align with it, and the current of prosperity flows without resistance.